This is the only video you need to create a complete inventory system in Unreal Engine 5. And by the end of this tutorial, you'll have a fully working inventory system with complete inventory UI, item system, item notification, drag and drop functionality, tooltips, item usage, and even item dropping. Inventory system is widely used in most games in the world, whether it's a survival game, RPG game, or a crafting simulation. In this video, I'm showing you not just how to get it working, but how to build it the right way. I will rely fully on data tables, blueprint components, and I will make it like how I did in my games. Actually, I've used the same system in my games, previously RT in the No Man's Land. It is a very beautiful action-adventure puzzle game where I implemented a very advanced inventory system. And I will be showing that to you in this video, guys. You will find timestamp under the video so you can navigate between them, and also I will provide the full project link in the description below. But make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. That will be very appreciated. Also, in the next one, I'll cover how we can create an inventory hotbar system, maybe an equipment system, and of course a save game system, so all the data in our inventory will not be lost. So stay tuned for the next one by hitting the subscribe button, guys, and let's get started, guys. Okay, so I will be showing you what we will be building in this video. So first of all, we have a fully inventory UI here, and we have an item system that you can pick up. Let's pick up this banana. You'll see the item notification appears, and the item has added into the inventory. You can drag this anywhere you want. Alright, and you can even drop it into the level and discard it from your inventory. Just like that. Or let's say if you want to take this pineapple here, you'll see it has 3 and it has the maximum quantity of 5 for each slot. So if you take another one, it will create a new one and it will fill the existing slot first. Just like that. And let's take this helmet for example. But since the helmet can only fit in one quantity, when you take another one, it will go into the next empty slot available. And when you take this X for example, you will not be able to take it because the inventory is full. Now you have to drop something from the inventory and you can take another item like that. So that's pretty much it. So I will go through each step-by-step tutorial. So yeah, let's get started. So here I'm in the empty project. You have this character moving around and you don't have any inventory yet. So I'll be making it first. So I'll be importing the assets that we need in this video. I'll create a new folder called this assets. Now I can drag all of this into the folder just like that. Just click import. And now you'll see several files appears like this. I'll create a new material here. I'll name this m_item material. Double click on it, and now I can drag and drop the Atlas 01 BC. By the way guys, this assets only can be used for educational purposes only because it is licensed to someone else's work. So I mean, like, please keep that in mind. Alright, so just plug the RGB into the base color, save it. Now we can click one of them and hold shift to select all of it. Click enter, and now you can drag the m_item material into each slot like that. And for the pineapple, it's a different kind of material, so I'll be making that after this. Banana, apple, helmet, yeah. And now let's make the pineapple. I'll make another material, call this m_pineapple material. And here I'll just set the base color just to make it yellow. Save it. Go to the pineapple and plug the material into the slot. Just like that. Now it will be yellow. I think it's not that yellow. Now it's much better. Alright. So you're good to go for the item. And now let's create a blueprint for our item. Okay, go to the content browser. I'll create a new folder. I will name this a blueprint. You can also set the color, maybe make it bluish. And the assets folder, maybe make it red, I guess. Okay, go to the blueprint here. I will make two new folder. I'll call this inventory. and another one is for item. All right, so let's go to the item here. We're gonna create a new blueprint class, an actor class. I'll name this BP underscore item master. Okay, but first I will create a new structure, struct underscore item data. This will hold everything, every data about our item. Okay, so first of all, we have item ID. This will be used to identify what item it is, like it will be used in the code. So it should be string, guys, not a text. What's the difference of text and string? For text, you can localize it so you can have a different value for each language, because we're gonna use it in code, so it will have to be a string. Another one, we are gonna have item category, but I will add this later. Okay, next one, it will be item name, and this one should be a text, because you can have a different name for every language. All right. Another one is item description. So both item name and item description will be used on making the tooltip widget, so it has to be a text and not a string. Okay. The next one is a max quantity. This will be string. All right, and the next one is going to be current quantity. Okay, next one is going to be item icon. This is going to be a type of texture 2D. The last one is going to be item BP class. This will be handled for our dropping mechanism, but it will be used in the very last part of the video. Okay, so I'll make another one. This time it's an enumeration. So our name is enum underscore item category. It will for now it has only 3 maybe. The first one is gonna be consumable, equipment, and others. Alright. Okay, so go back to the item data and change the item category to be item category. Enumeration, just like that. And don't forget the item BP class should be an actor of type class reference here. So it's gonna be purple. So make sure you follow the same exact variables as I am, or you can use your own. But remember to keep track of it, because it will be very important in the whole video. Now we can go back into our item master here. Go to the event graph. Go to the viewport here. I will add a static mesh component. For now, I will set this to maybe an apple. I will set the collision to no collision, so it will not be collided with the player. Because what? Because we will make another sphere collision, wrapping the item. I'll make the sphere radius to maybe around 100. And I'll uncheck the hidden in-game so I can see it in-game. And maybe I'll increase the size to maybe 2. And I'll grab this sphere out from the static mesh so the scaling doesn't interfere. I will set the sphere to 1 for scale. Alright, so let's go to the event begin overlap here. And on the other actor here, I'm gonna cast it to a BP third person character. Okay, and for now, I will just destroy the actor. So it's gonna be a destroy actor when it's collided with the player. Just like that, very simple. Alright, so go to the variable here. We're gonna add 3 new variables. It will be item data struct here. Item data. Another one will be item ID. Will be a string, of course. And another one will be amount. This will be an integer. And I'll set the amount and the item ID to be instance editable and expose on spawn for both. Like that. Compile it. Now we can create a new child class for each item that we have. So we're gonna right click on the item master and create child blueprint class. BP underscore item banana. Alright. So this will be item banana. And then go to the self here. Click on the self here. Change the item ID to be banana. Small case. Actually, you can set your own custom ID, because it will just use in the code. Okay, compile that and I'll duplicate it. Control D. I'll name this BP item apple. make this an apple, open full blueprint editor, viewport, change the static mesh to be apple. Compile, create another one, bp_item pineapple. Again, pineapple, the ID, open full blueprint editor, viewport, static mesh, change it to pineapple. That, oh, it's a bit off. Compile that. Another one, bp_item helmet. Helmet for the item ID. Open full blueprint editor, change the static mesh to be helmet. Set the z value, compile. And the last one for X. Okay. Change this one to X. And I'll change the item ID to be X. Compile. Now we can drag all the item into the level. You can drag the pineapple there. You can drag the helmet there, maybe. Rotate it like that. The banana. The eggs, maybe. And the apple, of course. Now when you click play, and when you collide with the item, it will be disappeared. It will be destroyed like that. Alright. Okay, go back to our item folder here. You're gonna right click on the miscellaneous here, add a new data table. And for the row structure, it will be the item data. Okay, and I'll name this dt_inventory item data. Double click on it. Now you're gonna add a new row to the data table. For the first row name, I'll name this apple. Item ID gonna be apple. The category is gonna be consumable. Item name is gonna be apple, but with the A capitalized, so it will be displayed on the screen. And for the description, I will just set it to maybe like a consumable item, fruit that will add 20 player HP. Max quantity, maybe I'll set this to 5. Current quantity should be 0. Item icon is gonna be the one that I have provided you in the description, which is this icon_apple. So make sure you import the correct assets. And for the BP class, I will set this to BP_item apple. Gonna duplicate it. Maybe this one's gonna be a banana. Banana. Consumable. Banana with B capitalized. A consumable fruit that will add 50 player to their HP. The max quantity gonna be 5, and this one icon is gonna be banana. So same for this one, item banana. Okay, duplicate. Pineapple. Pineapple. Consumable. Pineapple. A consumable pineapple that will add maybe this one 70 player HP. Icon pineapple, and maybe I'll set the max quantity of this to 10 just to demonstrate to you the difference. Okay, duplicate again, name this helmet, and the category is gonna be equipment. Item name is gonna be helmet with H capitalized, and this one may be a warrior helmet that will protect the player from enemy damage. And the max quantity I'll set this to 1. Item icon is gonna be icon_helmet. And the BP class is gonna be BP item helmet. Alright, the last one, duplicate it again. Our name is X. Same for item ID X. Equipment X. And this one gonna be X or simple weapon that will deal damage to the enemies. Again, the max quantity will gonna be 1. Icon is gonna be icon_X, and the BP class is gonna be item BP item X. Alright, so we're gonna save it. Now we're good to go. Let's go to the blueprint inventory. Right click on this, create a new blueprint class, and this will be type of actor component. Alright, I'll name this BPAC, stands for blueprint actor component underscore inventory component. You can name this anything you want, but what blueprint inventory component used to is you can add this to another actor. So when you click save, you're gonna go to the blueprint third person character here, open that. Now you can add a new component, and you can add the inventory component here. So by just doing this, you will add a fully functional inventory component added to your player. But of course, we have to make it by ourselves in the component here. So double click on the component here, and we'll start making our logic. So in the inventory component here, I will add a new function. I'll name this Initialize slot. This will be just a very simple function. I'll create two new variables. This will be a num of inventory slot. This will be type integer, and another one is inventory slots. This will be type of inventory. Okay, we haven't created the structure, so let's create it. You can go back to the inventory folder here, right click, create a new structure. I'll name this struct underscore inventory slot data. Alright, so for the first variable, I will name this is empty. Okay, I'll set this to true. And then the next one is gonna be the item data. It's gonna be a struct underscore item data. And the last one is gonna be slot index. It's gonna be an integer. So I create two different type of structure. The first item data is used to store all the data of the items that you have in your game, and the inventory slot data is used to store data that are only used in the inventory slots, like if it's empty, and the index of the inventory, and also the item that it contains. Compile that. You're gonna go back into the inventory component here, change the inventory slots type this to be struct underscore inventory slot data. And this will be type of an array. So we're gonna go to the details panel. If you don't see this, you can go to the window and click on the details panel here. Set this to array. Okay, compile. Now for the initialize slot function here, you can run a for loop. This one, okay. And the first index gonna be 0, and the last index gonna be num of inventory slots minus 1. Let's set the inventory slots to be 10, sorry. And even though we minus 1, it will still run 10 times because the first index is set to 0 at start. Hold control and add. We're gonna add to this array. We're gonna right click and split the struct bin here. Okay, and I will set this to empty by default. And for the item data, it will be empty, and the index is gonna plug into the for loop like that. I'm gonna compile that. We're gonna go to the event graph and plug the initialize slot into the event begin play. And now you'll have 10 empty inventory slot by default. Okay, so let's create the next function. I'll name this AddItem. This will only have 2 inputs. So click on this function here, go to the inputs and create 2 new input variable. I'll name this item ID, and this will be type of string, and the next one is gonna be amount. This will be type integer. Now we can compile, and I'll leave this blank for now to wrap up our first chapter. Okay, we're gonna go back into our item master here, and from the distro actor here, I'll drag this away, and then from here you can get the inventory component. So get BPAC inventory component, and I'll add the item here. Okay, and I'll plug back into the distro actor. For the item ID, I'll plug in item ID, and the amount is gonna be the amount like that. Okay, we're gonna go back into the add item. Maybe I'll add some kind of a print string debugging thingy. So maybe I'll append it. So let's say like item ID, add it to inventory with amount of amount. Okay, gonna compile and we're gonna click play. And now when you collide with the item, it will say item apple added to inventory with amount 0. Alright, because we haven't set the amount for each item. So maybe for this one, I will set the amount to be 2. This pineapple should be, let's say 3. The helmet is gonna be 1. Banana maybe 5. And this egg is gonna be 1. And click play. When you pick up one of these items, it will say item apple added to inventory with amount 2. Item pineapple added to inventory with amount 3, and so on. But we have to still display the item. That will be in the next chapter. And then let's head on to the next chapter, guys. Okay guys, so let's head into the second part. So we'll be making our player HUD. So in the blueprint folder here, I'll create a new folder. This will be an UI. And I will create a new widget blueprint. User widget. I'll name this WBP underscore player HUD. So what we're gonna do, we double click on it. Alright, so I will add a canvas panel. So it will fill the entire screen. And then next one, I will create a vertical box. Alright, so this is for the item notification. So whenever the player picks up an item, it will be notified here. And then I'll set the anchors to the left part of the screen by clicking on the anchor here. And maybe I'll make it a bit to the top a bit, maybe like that. And then we're gonna compile that. And we're gonna check the is variable here. I'll name this VB, stands for vertical box underscore item notification list. Alright. Okay, and then we're gonna make another UI, which is blueprint. I'll name this WBP underscore item notification. Alright, just double click on it. I'll create a new size box to this. I'll choose the desired on screen instead of the fill screen. And I'll check the height override and the minimum desired width. The height is gonna be 75 and the minimum desired width is gonna be around 250. Okay. And then we're gonna make an overlay here, make it full screen, and then a vertical box. A horizontal box. Make it full screen also. But I'll make a background, so we're gonna put it under the horizontal box here, on top of the horizontal box. Sorry, so it will go underneath the horizontal box, and just fill in all of the overlay here. I'll set the brush to be black, and make it a bit like 0.5 opacity. And then inside the horizontal box, we're gonna add another size box. This is for the item icon. So we're gonna choose the vertical alignment to be center aligned vertically. Check the width and height override to be around 45 by 45. Oops, sorry. And then I'll set the padding of the left side to be maybe 10. I'll increase the size to be 50 by 50 maybe. And then grab a text. Put it on next of the size box. Make the vertical element to be centered. Make a padding to be 10 for the left one. So this will be item name times X, like maybe 5. This is like for the amount. I'll set the font to be a regular Roboto here. And I'll check the is variable. I'll name this txt underscore item name and amount. And inside the size box, we're gonna add another image. This is for the item icon. So I'll name this img underscore item icon. Okay. So we're gonna click compile. So we are done with the item notification. But I want to make a slide in animation. So just click on the plus on the add animations here, and I'll name this maybe animation underscore slide left. Yes, slide left, slide right, sorry. And then make sure you select this, and it will be like a blue border here indicating that you are currently selecting the animation. Go to the overlay here, and we're gonna modify the translation of this. So basically, if you move this around, as you can see, the widget moves. I'll make it to start from around this position. and click on the plus here to add a keyframe for this property. So it will create like a animation keyframe on the animation tab here. Drag your timeline here, maybe 0.25, and I'll set this to 0. Sorry, like that. And again click add a keyframe. And now we are good to go, but I will make opacity, so go down a bit on the render opacity, set this to 0. Alright, and the 0.35 second here, make this to 1. So you'll have a smooth fade in and fade in animation, as well as the slide right animation. Okay, so you can click compile again, go to the event graph, and here we'll make three new variables. Sorry, the first one is gonna be the item name. This will be a string, and set the insertable next on spawn to true. Another one will be an item amount. Okay, this will be an integer, as again is insertable and next on spawn. And this one's gonna be item icon. It's gonna be a texture 2D object reference. Again, insertable and spawn. Okay, so now we're gonna set the text. We're gonna set the image item icon first. So we're gonna set brush from texture. The texture is gonna be the item icon. Alright, next one is gonna be the item text. You're gonna set text, format text here, and make sure you follow me. Open bracket, close bracket. On the middle here, you're gonna set like item name, space, X, open curly bracket, amount, and close curly bracket. So it will create like a 2 pin here that you can set it. Item name goes here and item amount goes there. And then what's next? We're gonna play the animation. Just like that. Oh, sorry. And then we're gonna make a delay. Hold D and click to create a delay. Maybe this gonna be 2 seconds. I'll copy this animation here, select the reverse on the play mode, and then delay 0.25. We're gonna remove this from the parent. Yep, like that. So we're good to go. When we click compile on the player HUD here, let's say if we put WBP notification here, it will create here. And now we'll delete it and go to the event graph, and I'll make a new function, and I'll name this AddItem notification. Okay, so the function will have 2 inputs. First one is gonna be the item data. It's gonna be an item data, and the next one is gonna be an amount. Okay, the integer, and we're gonna create a widget. This will be a WBP underscore item notification. Item name is gonna be from here. Break struct item data, item name. Item amount is gonna be the amount here, and the item icon is gonna be the item icon from the item data. All right. So grab our vertical box. Item is gonna add child. Drag that and drag this return value to the content of the add child. So that's pretty much it to get to make the item notification inside the player HUD. So we're gonna test it first before we make into the inventory UI. So basically, when you pick up an item, so we're gonna go to the item blueprint here. Okay, so on the BP item master here, you're gonna get from the person character here, you're gonna get the player HUD reference, and we're gonna add the item notification. Okay, item data is gonna be the item data from this structure here, and the amount is gonna be the amount from this integer over here. I think I'm gonna go to the add item here, and I'll make a new output. It's gonna be success. Block the return node, and I'll check the success to be true. I'm gonna compile, go back into the item master here, and whenever the success is true, add the item notification. Compile. Now we can test it. Whenever we pick up an item, it will show in the left side there. But apparently the text wasn't changing, but the amount was changed. Okay, so it's gotta be an easy fix. Have we set it in the item data structure? Oh yeah, I forgot to set the item data structure according to the item ID. So we're gonna make a new function on the item master. Okay, I'll name this Initialize item data structure. Okay, structure. From here, you're gonna get the data table row. It's gonna be the inventory item data. Row name is gonna be the item ID. And when it's found the row, we're gonna set the item data structure to be the out row here. It means that you get the data from the data table that we have created, this one, and we set that into this variable on the item here, so you can access it anywhere. And we have to call the function in the event begin play. Gonna click compile, click play. Now whenever you pick up an item, you will see the item notification is appearing on the left side. Okay, so I have a quick tips for you. If you want to make the item notification appears from the bottom of this vertical box, it's gonna be a very easy trick. So we're gonna go to the vertical box here. I'll set the scale to be on the Y here to be -1. Gonna click compile, and as well go to the item notification here on the size box here. Change the scale to be -1 as well. So when you click compile and we click play, when you pick up an item, it will appear from the bottom part of the vertical box. So it's much more, I can say, like clean and more unique. Okay, so let's move on into making our inventory UI, guys. Okay, so let's create our inventory UI. So let's go back into the blueprint/UI here, create a new widget blueprint. I'll name this WBP_inventory UI. Okay, open that up. Now we'll make a size box here. Again, make the fill screen type here to be a desired on screen. Alright, so the width and height override, set this to 700 by 450. Alright, so here I'll make a overlay and make an image as a background. Make it full screen. Set the brush to be black and 0.75 maybe. And I've provided you some assets. I will use the UI background here as the main menu background. So we're gonna plug this into the image. You'll see like it's very stretched out like that. So I'll choose the draw as a box. Set the margin to be 0.5. And you'll see now it is scaled perfectly nice. So the next one I'm gonna add a vertical box. Make it full screen, and I'll set the padding to 25 maybe. And then I'll get a text, and I'll set the text to be inventory. Next one, I'll add the scroll box. Make it full screen. And the next one, we'll be using what is called a uniform grid panel, which makes it really easy to organize widgets into like rows and columns without manually calculating their position. So you're gonna drag the uniform grid panel into the scroll box here and make it fill the entire row box. And don't forget to set the is variable to true, and I'll name this UGP_inventory slots. Okay, so we're gonna click compile. Now we're gonna make the inventory slot widget. Go back into the UI folder here, make a user interface widget. I'll name this WBP_inventory slot. Okay, so double click on it to open the inventory slot, and then I'll make a size box, and I'll make this one to be desired. This is just for a preview only. Okay, check the width and height override. I'll set this to 135 by 135. You can play around with the value if you want the size to be bigger or smaller. And I will have an overlay here. Okay, and another one will be a border. Make it full screen. Set this to is variable. I'll name this border_master. This will handle the click, I guess. I'll set the borders brush to be our assets again. It is the UI background too. So like that. Make it maybe black again or a bit darker. So like that maybe. And then I'll make a new size box here. Okay, I'll make image size box. Set the width and height to be for the 45 by 45, and I'll make this not fill the entire border. So we're gonna choose the horizontal alignment vertical and vertical center there. Maybe it's a bit too small. Maybe 60 by 60 should be good. Maybe 80 by 80. So it's better. So I'll test using the apple here. Icon apple. Alright, very good. Now we're gonna make another text on the overlay here. I'll set the horizontal to be right and vertical alignment to be bottom. Set the justification to be aligned right here. I'll set the text to maybe 1. This is for the quantity. I'll check this variable to be and name this text underscore item amount. Set the padding of the bottom to be 10 maybe, and the right one to be also 15 by 15. Okay, not bad. Increase the size to be 30. And for the image here, I'll also name this img underscore item icon. Alright, so can compile. Now we can work on the event graph. Okay, now on the inventory slot event graph here, create a new function. I'll name this init underscore update slot. Make a new input. This will be an inventory slot. Inventory slot data. Inventory slot. Okay, and I'll promote this to a variable here, not the local. Inventory slot data. Alright, so from here you're gonna break it. Okay, so on the item data here, I wanna go to the max quantity here. If the max quantity is below or equal to 0, or make an or boolean if it's empty. So if the current quantity of this item is less or equal to 0, or the slot is empty, I'll set the visibility for the item icon and text amount to be. I'm gonna go here and click on select here, plug the or into the index wildcard there, set if it's true, we're gonna make it collapsed, and if it's false, we're gonna make it visible. So okay, so we're gonna set the item icon to be just set brush from texture, and set the texture to be item icon here. The item quantity, item amount here, we're gonna set the text there, current amount, current quantity here, to text integer. I'll uncheck the use grouping there, and let's say if the max quantity of the item is only 1, like an X or a helmet, I'll hide the item amount visibility. So we're gonna copy that and paste that like that. Set visibility of the item amount here. Make a select again. If the max quantity is less or equal to 1, if it's true, we're gonna make this to collapse, and if it's false, we're gonna make it to hidden. I have to move this to front, so we have to set the item amount text visibility first before we set the visibility of the empty item. Yes, should be like that. This one goes there. Item max quantity. And the or is gonna be here. I'm gonna plug this back into the texture like that. Okay, maybe that's it for the initialize update slot. So you're gonna go back into our inventory UI, go to the event graph, and we'll make a new function. And actually, just for debugging purposes, I'll make another text here on the overlay, and I'll set the variable here. I'll name this slot index. It's just for like testing purposes. ID 0, something like that. So I'm gonna set this really quick. So I'm gonna format it. ID. Drag the inventory slot data here. Break that slot index. Compile. Now we can go back into our inventory UI, and we're gonna make a new function. This will be initialize inventory slots. Okay, so basically we're gonna have only one input. It's gonna be a slot per row. Alright, so we're gonna make a new local variable, call that row. Make it an integer. Set this to 0 by first, and then we're gonna clear the inventory slots on the grid panel. So we're gonna be clear children like that. And now we're gonna run a for loop. The first index is gonna be 0, and the last index is gonna be the inventory component reference, but we don't have it right now, so we're gonna create a new variables here. Inventory component reference. Okay, And then we're gonna make another one, player reference. This will be a third person character. Like that. Okay. Compile that, go back into the initialize inventory here. On the for loop here, we're gonna call the inventory component here. We're gonna get the inventory slots. And we can get the length of it. Subtract that by 1. Plug this into the last index like that. Now on the loop body here, we're gonna create a widget. This will be the slot, inventory slot. Go back into our inventory slot and set the inventory slot data to be insertable and exposed on spawn. Another one will be the inventory index. Make it an integer, also editable and exposed on spawn. And last one is gonna be the reference to the inventory UI. So we can handle the drag and drop system later on. Gonna be inventory UI. Again, editable and exposed on spawn. Compile. Go back to the inventory UI. Now when you right click and refresh the nodes, it will appear like this. So we're gonna get the inventory component reference again. We're gonna get the inventory slots. We're gonna get a copy to this from the index of this for loop. Plug this into the inventory slot data. Then the index goes to the inventory index. And for the inventory UI, we're gonna get our reference to ourselves. We're gonna promote this to a new local variable. I'll call this maybe a new slot. Okay, and we're gonna make another array on the inventory UI here. I will name this inventory slots, and this will be the WBP underscore inventory slot object reference. And I'll set this to an array. Let's change variable type like that. We're gonna drag the array in, add unique into this array on the new slot for the new slot. And now maybe I'll get a print string like inventory slot added, and I'll add child to the uniform grid panel. So I'm gonna drag our UGP there. We're gonna add child to uniform grid. The content will be the new slot from the local variable here. Okay, and the in row is gonna be the row that we have created on the local variable on the front here. And the column is gonna be the input slot per row over here. So we're gonna call that get slot per row. We're gonna modulus this by, it will be the index here because this will handle the column. And we're gonna modulus it by the slot per row. This way it will reset the column back to 0 if the slot per row is already satisfied. Okay, and from this we're gonna make an equal here. We will increment the row if the column is already meet the slot per row here. So with this equal to the slot per row -1 because index start from 0. Like a branch there, hold B and click. Plug that in. We're gonna add increment into the row variable there. All right, very simple. Now I think we can now test the function. Go back into the event graph, make a new custom event, and I'll name this Initialize inventory. I'll set the player reference. Just drag this into the input here. The inventory component reference also, and the slot per row. So we're gonna initialize inventory slots like that. Slot per row. Okay, so let's go back into our player HUD. I'll search on the palette here, WBP underscore inventory UI. Drag this into the canvas panel like that. Check the size to content to enable. Set the anchors of this to the left bottom here. And hold control and click on the left button here, and it will snap into this location here. Set the alignment to be 1 on the Y axis here, and now you got the inventory UI appears on your screen. Now we can click compile, we can play. Okay, the slot hasn't been initialized because we haven't initialized the inventory UI. So we're gonna go back into our event graph on the player HUD. Go here on the event graph. On the event construct here, we're gonna initialize inventory. Plug this into the event construct. For the player reference, it's gonna be the get player character, cast to third person character, right click, convert this to a pure cost. All right, clear reference, and for the inventory component here, you're gonna get the inventory component just like that. And maybe for the slot row, we're gonna set this to 5. Okay, compile. Now when you click play, it should appears. Okay, all the slot appeared on the inventory grid panel there, which is a good sign. However, I think it has some kind of misalignment there, because there was a gap in the center here that I don't want that. So we're gonna go back into the inventory UI here. On the UGP here, I'm gonna set it's supposed to not be filled, but it's supposed to be auto. So I'm gonna try to set the size back to auto and click compile and play. And yeah, and now we have fixed the spacing, like a middle spacing there. So maybe I will make a margin for all of the slots. So you're gonna go back into the inventory slots here on the designer here. I'll make the overlay padding to be 5. So compile, click play. Now it will have a padding for each slots. However, when you start the game, like the slot is not even initialized. So it's gonna be a very simple fix, and after that we're gonna make the player can toggle the inventory on or off by pressing tab maybe. So we'll go to the inventory slot, go to the event graph, and we forget to initialize the slot. So we're gonna just plug this into the event construct. And for inventory slot, it's gonna be the inventory slot data from the variable there. Gonna click compile. Now we can try to play the game. As you can see now, the slot has been initialized with the correct ID. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But when you pick up an item, it still doesn't appear on the slot. We're gonna go to our inventory component, go to the AddItem function, and on here, before the onSuccess here, we're gonna make a new event dispatcher. So go on the left side here and click plus on this event dispatchers. This will like tell all the actors that subscribed into this event that will perform an action or a function, and we will call it from this component. So I'll name this on item added. The inputs is gonna be the inventory slot data. Name this inventory slot data. Click compile, and we can call this. Okay, then we're gonna make another new function. This will be a check for empty slots. We're gonna call the inventory slots there. We're gonna run a for each loop with break. So we're gonna for each loop with break. Okay, and then on the array element here, we're gonna break it. We're gonna run a if check here if it's empty, sorry. If it's empty, so we're gonna run a sequence. It will break this for loop. To add a sequence, you're gonna hold S and click. Okay, just type sequence here. Okay, we're gonna break the loop, and then we're gonna return it. And make a new outputs. Plug that in, and the outputs will be having two outputs. So the first one is gonna be boolean, empty slot available. Empty slot available. A boolean, and then the next one is the index. We're gonna check this, and the index is gonna go to the array index there. And on the complete on the for each loop here, this will be false. And I will set the index to -1, just to telling that the index slot is infinite. Alright, so I'll go back here to the add item here, and just plug the check for empty slots there. And if the slot is available, we're gonna set. So we're gonna go from the array here, search for get a reference, not a copy, but the reference. On the index here, we're gonna set this into the index from the function we have just created. And on this output here, we're gonna set members in structure and inventory slot data. Go to the details panel here, expand this default category, and set is empty item data. Just like that. Plug the true into the set members here. The item data is gonna be the item ID, but we're gonna have to get it from the data table. So we're gonna get data table row. Gonna be the DT inventory data. The row name is gonna be the item ID. So we're gonna get item ID from this. And the out row here, just go to the item data. But before that, we have to add the quantity into this item data, right? So move this a bit to the right there. On the out row here, we're gonna set members in struct item data, and we're gonna set the current quantity. For the current quantity is gonna be the from this one. We're gonna break it. Okay, and this current quantity we're gonna add to the inputs here, amount. So you're gonna get amount from this one. Very simple. Now you can even hide all of this pin by clicking on the hide unconnected pins. And then don't forget to connect the struct out into the item data here, and connect the struct out from this one into the on item added. Plug that in, and now we can compile. Now we can go back into our inventory UI here on the event graph. Go to the event graph here, and now we have to get the from the inventory component here on the initialize inventory function. We're gonna get the inventory component reference, and what you're gonna do is just assign on item edit, and you will see that it creates a new custom event. And then for the inventory slot data here, we're gonna break it, get our inventory slots array here, and get a copy to the slot index. And from here, we're gonna just get init or update slot. And the inventory slot data is gonna be from the this event right here. Okay, and compile and try the game out. And now when you pick up an item, it should show up. No, sorry guys, I forgot to so go to the add item function back, and we're gonna uncheck the is empty. This should be unchecked. And when you now click compile and play, you'll see that when you pick up an item, it will show up in the inventory slots. And when you pick up another item, it will show up next to the pineapple. So you can see like that, banana X. All right. So we have displayed our inventory slots correctly, and now let's move on into the making the player can close or open the inventory, and we'll also show the mouse cursor. And yeah, let's do that. So let's go back into our player HUD. We're gonna make a new event, add custom event, Toogle inventory. This will have a one input. It's gonna be a Toogle, a show inventory. Like that, and then we're gonna drag our inventory UI. We're gonna set its visibility, select here, drag it into the index wildcard from the boolean. If it's true, we're gonna set this to visible, and if it's false, we're gonna set this to collapsed. So after toggling, we have to get our player controller to show the mouse cursor. So we're gonna set show mouse cursor to be enabled, to be the show inventory. And then we're gonna go to the event construct here, and maybe I'll set the default value of this to false. So we're gonna Toogle inventory, set this to false. So whenever you click play, it will now hidden. And then let's make an input for that. If you are using Unreal Engine 5.1 or later, you can now make using the input system. So you're gonna go to the blue third person input action. I'll copy from the ia_jump here, so you just Control D to duplicate it. I'll name this ia_open inventory. Save it. Now we can go back into the input here. Click on the imc_default. Click on the plus on the mappings here. Choose the ia_open inventory. I'll choose these and maybe tab. So you're gonna click on this and just press tab on your keyboard. Add another one, maybe an E. Alright, so I'm gonna save it. And we can go back into our player character, third person blueprint, third person character here. We're gonna call ia_open inventory. Get our player HUD reference here, and then we will Toogle inventory on the starter here. But we have to make a variable for this, so you can just from here you can drag it and promote this to a variable. I'll name this is inventory opened. And from this, you have to disconnect this, and from this one, you can type not boolean and plug this back into the Toogle inventory, just like that. And we're gonna set this to this one. compile, play, and whenever you press tab on the keyboard, it should show up, and the mouse cursor is shown on the screen. And when you close it, the inventory will be hidden, and the input is still weird, so we have to fix that. Go back into our player HUD, and from after the show mouse cursor here, we're gonna set the input game only, input game and UI. Before that, we're gonna make a branch from the show inventory here. If we want to show the inventory, we're gonna go into the input mode game and UI, and in widget to focus should be cell, and hide cursor during gameplay, I will set this to false. And on the false here, we're gonna set input mode game only. Okay, just like that. As you can see now, the camera won't move like we used to have. Instead, if you click and hold the left mouse button, and now you can control the character. So that's what we want. When you press tab again, everything should work fine like this. Okay, that's pretty much it for the second part. On the next part, we'll be making our inventory quantity system, and whenever the item has reached the maximum quantity of a slot, it will go into the next empty slot available. So we will be rewinding our AddItem function, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the third part. Alright guys, so this is the third part of our series. So whenever you duplicate an item, let's say this apple, you're gonna hold Alt and duplicate it. Gonna move it a bit to the left. When you click play, open the inventory, when you pick up this apple, it will show up on the first slot, and whenever you pick up the another one, it will show up into the second slot. But we don't want that. Why? Because we have implemented the maximum quantity of a slot item and DT inventory item data. You can see the apple has a max quantity of 5, but apparently when you pick up these 2 apple, it will be show up on a different slot instead. But we want this to be added to the first slot first after it reaches 5, and then we're gonna fill the next empty slot. So yeah, let's do that. So welcome to the part 3. So we're gonna make our AddItem function here. Gonna add another function here. Check for existing item slot. This is also gonna be very easy. So we're gonna grab our inventory slots here. Gonna run a for each loop with break again. Actually, it will have one input item data to find. The steps is gonna be the item data. Okay, so here we can break it. Check from this and break there. And then on the for each loop with break here, we're gonna break also from the array element here on the item data. I'm sorry. And from the item ID here, we're gonna make a equal exactly string, or if you're using the older version of the engine, just type equal here. But it will not work on the 5.5, I guess, and we didn't have to use the equal exactly string there. Into the item ID here, run a branch, and we have to make an AND here. AND boolean. Drag the AND boolean into the branch conditions. Current quantity here, it must be less than the max quantity, so you can add the item. So go to the AND there, and with so we have to run a sequence again. Hold S and click, and from the then 0, plug this into the for each loop with break, and from the then 1 is gonna have to return it, and we're gonna have also 2 outputs. Two outputs. First one is a boolean. I'll name this slot available, and the second one is the integer slot index. Okay, drag this in there. Slot available, set this to true, and index is gonna be the array index or the slot index. It's all the same. I will just use the slot index here. And on the completed pin over on the for each loop here, we're gonna again return slot available, set this to false, and slot index is gonna be -1. Okay, so now we can go back into our AddItem. Okay, maybe I'll move everything here. So I'm gonna unplug everything there. I'll move this a bit down here. because we're gonna rework on all of the stuff there. First, I will make a local variable there. I'll name this item amount to add. This is from the amount pin here, and if it's greater than 0, we're gonna move on to the next one. We're gonna get data table row. The data table is gonna be the inventory item data. Row name is gonna be the item ID. You can just drag from this and convert it into a name. Set the out row here to be a local variable also. Item to add. It's like the item data to add. And then we're gonna run a while loop. But I'm gonna move this around a bit. We're gonna run a while loop. And for the condition, it's gonna be the item amount to add here. This one. If it's greater than 0, we're gonna run the loop body. Okay, and on the loop body, we're gonna call the check for existing item slot. Item data to find is gonna be the item to add. And if it's not available, run a branch. And if this plug the slot available to the branch, I'll call the inventory slots array here and get a copy. Get a reference. Get a reference, and for this one is gonna be the slot index. Or we're gonna break it, and from the error data here, we're gonna break it again once more. Move this a bit to down, maybe here, down here maybe. And we're gonna calculate for the empty space available. So it's gonna be the max quantity subtracted by the current quantity of the item, and then we get a minimum by the item amount to add. Just like that. And we're gonna promote this to a local variable. I'll name this slot at amount. And also, I'll run a if check first if this is greater than 0. And a branch again. Just like that. Lock this into the true there. Now we can set the members of the slot item data on the item data structure. So we're gonna drag from the struct inventory slot data here. Gonna set members in struct item data. This will be the current quantity. So just check the current quantity checkbox here. For the amount, we're gonna current quantity of this item plus the slot at amount. Like that. I'll make this a bit more tidier, I guess. Like that. So this one. Alright, so we have a better looking piece of blueprint. And now we have to set the slot data here. So we're gonna get from the get reference here. Set the member in struct inventory slot data. Check the item data there. Plug this in, and we're gonna call the event dispatcher we have created on item added. Call inventory slot data. Go here. And now for the item amount to add, we're gonna subtract this. We're gonna hold alt, get the item amount to add minus the slot add amount. Plug this in into the item amount to add. And now we can run a branch again. If these are less than or equal to 0, which means that we have no more item to add, we're gonna return the node. We're gonna return the function where it's been success. Okay, so let's trace our code a bit. So whenever the item amount to add is still greater than 0, meaning that it means that you still have the item to add, we're gonna run a while loop which will run this infinitely until the item amount to add is 0. If the inventory slots contains this item, and if the quantity of this slot is still less than its max quantity, like the apple, if it's so, we're gonna run a branch and it will calculate the remaining empty capacity between the max quantity and the current quantity, the minimum of these two values, empty capacity and the item amount to add. And we're gonna add this into the slot amount, and we're gonna plug this into the current quantity. But I forgot to set it. Just plug the current quantity into the plus here. Just like that. I'm gonna call the on item added here. Track the item amount to add. I'm gonna check if it's less than 0. We're gonna return the node. So that's very simple. Now we can go into the false here. which means that there's no existing slot that contains this item, or maybe it's just an empty inventory. We're gonna drag our check for empty slots, plug this into the false there. On the empty slot available, we're gonna run a branch, get our inventory slots and get the reference, plug this into the index, and from the item to add, we're gonna get that, break that, and the next quantity here, we drag all of that, and we're gonna have to get the minimum of this value and the item amount to add. I'm gonna set this to the slot add amount, hold Alt, plug into the true value there, plug this back into the minimum. Item to add, set members, set the current quantity to the slot add amount. Why don't we just add plus the current quantity here? Because if it's empty, which means that the current quantity is gonna be 0. So you can just directly set from the slot add amount into the set quantity here. And from this struct out, we have to get from this inventory slots get reference here. Make sure it's the get reference, not the get copy. I'm gonna use this one. I'll tell you again and again because it will not work if you do it with the copy unless you have to manually set the array by using the set array element. But just doing the get reference, it will be more clean. And from this, we're gonna set the member, check on the item data there, and plug this in like that. Again, we're gonna call our event dispatcher and plug this in. Next one, we're gonna subtract for our item amount to add, just like so, minus the slot add amount. And again, we run a branch if it's greater or equal to 0. I have to set this first. 0, we're gonna return the function. Success. Okay, go back a bit on the false here, which means that so the inventory should be full if it runs into the false here. So again, we're gonna return it, but this time it's gonna be unchecked. And maybe I'll print a string just to debugging, like maybe inventory full maybe. Now we can compile and can test the game out. So whenever you pick up an apple, oops, it doesn't show up. Oh, I'm sorry guys. I just debugged it. The thing that we have to add is you're gonna go to the struct inventory data here on the AddItem on the check empty slots, and check the is empty here. Set this to false, and it should be working now. Now it appears on the inventory, and whenever you take another one, it will add it onto the first slot there. Maybe duplicate another one. I'll set the amount to be 6. Play it. Pick up it. 4. And whenever you pick up this 6, it should be, yep, like that. So let's try something else. Maybe 10 amount. Pick up that. 4. 5, 5, 4. So we have a total of 14, which is true, right? So it works perfectly. So let's try with another item there. Yeah, it's working, guys. Let's set the amount of this pineapple to be 13. Play. Take it. It's gonna be 10, 3 because we have set the inventory item data pineapple to be a max quantity of 10 for each slot. So yeah, that's working. Maybe by the meantime, I'll set the color of the inventory slot to be darker maybe. This one should be good. Okay. And for the next part, I'll make the drag and drop functionality for each item. So you can drag and drop the item into the empty slot. And yeah, let's do it. I'll first hide this debug ID here. So you're gonna go to the inventory slot and click on this tag. I'll set the visibility to collapsed. So now you will not see the ID tags again. Let's say we take an item. So it's gonna show in this one. And now I'll make the drag and drop functionality. I'll make a new UI. So right click, user interface, widget blueprint. I'll name this WBP underscore slot. Sorry, WBP underscore slot, drag and drop. So this is gonna be just a preview. So whenever you drag a slot, it will show like a preview the item that is currently being dragged. So I'll double click on it. I'll go to the inventory slot here, go to the designer. I'll copy everything. Hold shift to select all, copy and paste it here. Again, make the fill screen to desired. I will compile, go to the event graph. On the variable here, I'll make a new variable. Item data. This is gonna be the structure underscore item data. It is editable and expose on spawn. And from here, I'll break it. I'll check if the max quantity is equal to 1. If it's so, I will get a branch, hold B and click. Plug that in. I'll set the item amount to be visible or to be hidden. So we're gonna set visibility to be hidden. Collapse, sorry. I think both collapse and hidden are basically the same, actually. And then I'll set the text to be the current amount, current quantity of the item. Again, I'll set the item icon. So we're gonna set brush from texture. Also plug the branch through here to the set brush. Plug the texture into the item icon. We're gonna compile. Go back into the designer. Maybe I will reduce the opacity of this slot to be like maybe 0.75. So we're gonna go here into the render opacity. Set this a bit lower, 0.5 maybe. Okay. We're gonna click compile. And now I will go back into the inventory slot. Go to the event graph. On the function here, click on the override, and we're gonna click on the on mouse button down. Again, override, on mouse button up, and the last one is the on drag detected. This one. Okay, so now let's work on mouse button down first. I will promote this to a local variable, the mouse event, local mouse event. I'll drag the inventory slot data, break it. And I'll check if the slot is not empty. So you're gonna not boolean. Okay, from the true here, get another branch to check if the local mouse event is the left mouse button. So you're gonna click on this keyboard here and just click on your mouse. Plug this in. And I will detect drag if pressed. Again, the drag key should be the left mouse button. This will go into the return node. Compile that. For the pointer event, just plug the local mouse event there. Compile. And now for the on mouse button up, I will leave this for now. We're gonna skip to the on drag detected. We're gonna create a widget. This will be the WBP underscore slot drag and drop. And for the item data, it's gonna be the slot data here. Break it. And plug the item data. Promote this to a variable, not the local variable. Drag and drop thumbnail widget reference. Plug that in. And now don't forget to create the drag and drop operation. Okay, so the default drag visual is gonna be this one also. And now I will return the return value here to the operation there. Alright, so I will go back into the inventory UI and I'll create some variables here. So go to the inventory UI and go to the event graph. Because we'll handle everything about the slot dragging and dropping here in the inventory UI. We're gonna make two new variables, is slot dragging. And the other one is active dragged slot. This is gonna be the WBP underscore slot drag and drop. Alright, so we're gonna go back into our inventory slot now. On drag detected here, I will call the inventory UI. I'll set the is slot dragging to be true. And then I'll set the slot to active drag slot to be drag and drop thumbnail widget reference. Just like that. Hit compile. Now I'll work on the button up here, drag that a bit. I'll get the inventory UI and I'll set the is dragging slot to be disabled. I'll make a sequence. So basically this will be like a use item used, and I'll return this one gonna be handled. Work on this later on. I'll compile first. So whenever you play the game and pick up an item, now you can drag your slot anywhere you want, but we still cannot drop it to another slot. And we will swap both slots data, but we will not swap the index. We'll just swap the item data properties. We're gonna go back into the inventory UI. I'll make a new function. Move to a new slot. I'll make two new inputs. WBP underscore inventory slot. It's gonna be the alt slot. So alt, what the fuck? Alt slot. The other one is gonna be the new slot. I'll make another new variable, drag and drop new slot. This will be inventory slot component. Okay, make sure you done this correctly. I'll set this to null first. Okay, because we want to swap between two slots data, we have to store the alt data into a temp variable. So I'll make another new local variable, temporary alt inventory slot. This one is gonna be the inventory slot data, and I'll set this to the alt slot, get inventory slot data. And maybe I will make another system where the player can drop their item if they drag the slot outside the inventory UI. So for that one, I will make another new variable, drag leaving. This will be a boolean. Compile that. Now I'll check if the drag leaving is true. We will drop the item, but we will do it later on. Okay, so I will implement the drop item after we make the drag and drop. Okay, so let's go back into our inventory component. I'll make one new function, update slot, drag and drop. Just like that. The function will have two inputs. The first one is WBP underscore inventory slot. I'll name this slot to update, and this one is the slot data, new slot data. Okay, so I will first get inventory slots and find item. Based on the slot to update, get the inventory slot data. So if it's found, I will get a reference to this index right here. Make sure it's the get reference, not the get copy. And from here, I'll set the members. Only check the is empty and the item data because we don't want to change the slot index. Plug that in. And for this one, I will get from the new slot data and break it. And we will plug the is empty and the item data into the set members there. And next one, I will get from the slot to update, get inventory slot data, and I will set the members also. Check the is empty in the item data, and plug the is empty and the item data to this set members also, because we have two separate item sort data that we have to change. And plug this in, and from the slot to update here, and I'll get here slot get slot to update init slash update slot. The inventory slot is gonna be this one. Okay, now we can compile. We're gonna go back into our inventory UI, and on the false here, I'll get our inventory component here. Update slot, drag and drop. The slot to update is gonna be the alt slot, so we're gonna get alt slot. I can just drag it from this input node there. And the new slot data is gonna be the new slot, get inventory slot data. Plug that in. And we also want to update the slot for the new slot. So you're gonna duplicate it. I'll change the alt slot to be the new slot. And the inventory new slot data is gonna be the get alt slot. get inventory sort data. Just like that. And we can try to compile and play the game. Let's take an apple and we can drag it. Okay, still not working because we haven't even called the function. Okay, so we're gonna go back into our inventory slot, go into the event graph, and here I will event on drag enter. Also make an event on drag leave. Oh, on drag cancel. Sorry. Now we're gonna call our inventory UI and set the drag and drop new slot to this self. So we're gonna get a reference to the self. And on the cancelled here, I also get the inventory UI, and I'll set a slot dragging to be false. Move to a new slot. The old slot is gonna be the self, and the new slot is the get drag and drop new slot. Okay, compile that and play. Now you can drag. Oops, it disappears. I'm sorry guys, gonna go back into the inventory UI here under move to a new slot. It should not be the old slot get inventory slot data instead, because we have stored it in the temporary variable there. So you're gonna just call the old slot there. Drag and drop this one and plug it in. Compile, play, and if you pick up an item and you can drag the item, you can drop it, and then you can move it around to another slot. And now let's take another item. Now you can swap it with items, just like that. Okay, very cool, right? And now let's make our drop item functionality. So whenever the player drag a slot outside the inventory UI, and the item will be discarded from the inventory. Gonna go to the inventory UI event graph, event on drag enter, and event on drag leave. This will listen if the player is entering or leaving the inventory UI, like this part of the UI right here. I'll check if the slot is dragging first. Copy that. If it's so, I'll set the drag leaving on the drag enter here to be false, and on the drag leave here gonna be true. Okay, now when you compile and play, you pick up an item, you drag this outside the inventory UI, it will show up like drop item. This is from the move to a new slot on the print string right here on the branch here. Okay, so let's go back into our inventory component here. I'll make a new function, drop item, and also make a new event dispatcher on item removed. The event dispatcher will have one input. It's gonna be the inventory slot data. Just like that. Compile that. The drop item we're gonna have one new input. Gonna be this inventory slot data type. Inventory slot. Break it. Get the slot index. So get our inventory slots and get a reference to the slot index here. And I'll set the members. Check the is empty and the item data. Okay, set it to is empty to true. Call the event dispatcher on item removed. Plug the inventory slot in. Just like that. Now we have to spawn the actor from class, and on the class here we're gonna get from our inventory slot item data, break it, get the item BP class. And for the spawn transform, it's gonna be the get owner of this inventory component and get the actor location, and this will be spawned in the player location. Okay, so I will cast to the BP item master, set the item ID to the inventory slot item data item ID, just like that. And I'll initialize item data structure. Before that, I will set the amount. So I'll set the amount to be the item data current quantity. Compile and test it. Click compile, go back into our inventory UI, and on the drop item here, I'll get the inventory component reference and I'll drop the item. The inventory slot is gonna be the alt inventory slot. So temporary alt inventory slot. Compile, play, take an apple. If we drop it, and now it spawns on the world. I'm going to take it again. Okay, I forgot to subscribe to the event dispatcher. Gonna go to the inventory UI, event graph. On here, I will bind event to on item removed. This is on the initialize inventory event. Okay, plug the event into the on item added event because it's just basically the same. Compile, and click play. You drop it, and now the item disappears. And now when you check it again, it will add back into the inventory. Let's test for another one. Drag it like that. And now it should be working perfectly fine. But if you notice that when you drop an item, it literally like spawned in the middle of the player, which I don't want it because I want it to be spawned on the floor. So that's gonna be a very simple fix. Go back into our inventory component here. I will move this away a bit. And I'll do a line trace. So line trace by channel. The start position is gonna be the get actor location. And the end position is gonna be the get actor location plus, so gonna add minus 2000. Okay, plug this into the end here. And for the actors to ignore, this is gonna be we're gonna make an array, and get the owner. Make sure that the trace channel is set to visibility. On the out hit here, break it. I'll make a branch from the return value. And I'll plug the location into the spawn actor location. Just like that, very simple. Compile and play. So now whenever you drop an item, it will spawn on the ground. So let's say if I wanna drop the item here, on the top here, it will spawn on the ground, just like that. I think I do have a bug here. For the X and helmet item, because I've set the max quantity of this both item to be 1, the quantity tag should be hidden. Go to the inventory slot, initialize or update slot. Here I've checked it if the max quantity of this one is hidden basically. Oh yeah, I have to set this after we set this visibility over here. So I'm gonna just hold Alt to disconnect the pin, move it away, drag this a bit to the front, plug that in, plug this in, just like that. So we have fixed the issue. Let's try it. Okay, so both the helmet and the X should not have the quantity text appears on the screen. Yeah, just like that. So we have fixed it. And you can also swap between slots. And now you can even drop the item. Wait, what? Okay, why it's a banana? Oh yeah guys, I'm sorry guys. You're gonna, don't forget to set the item BP class of the pineapple to the pineapple. I forgot guys. Apple, banana, pineapple, helmet, and eggs. Say it again. Test it out. So 3 should be 10. Banana, apple, eggs. Yeah. So basically we have done most of the inventory part. In the next part, I will make the consume item, and we can also equip the equipment for the player. After that, we can wrap up the video. And yeah, I have been recording this like for days. And please subscribe first to my channel. I'm really sorry about if my English pronunciation is not that great. I hope you can understand. I also hope that you can get something from my video. And yeah guys, so I will see you guys in the next part. Alright guys, so welcome back to the part 4, I guess, or part 5, I forget. But in this part, I'll make the equipment system. So basically, the player can equip the helmet and the X, and it will show like the equipped text on the slot there. And I also want to make the player so they can consume an item to add maybe an HP or something like that. So let's make that. Okay, now to make a equipment system, I will go back into the content browser, go to the character, mannequins, meshes maybe. Yeah, go to the sk__ mannequin here. And from here, I will go to the right hand. It's under the hand_r here. I'll add a new socket, F2, and name this weapon socket. Right click on this and add a preview asset. Type X, and now it will show the X in preview inside the skeleton mesh. I'll drag the weapon socket a bit so it matches the head location. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And next one, I'll add another socket onto the head. So we're gonna right click and add a socket, head socket, not bad. Right click, add preview asset, helmet. I'll rotate the head socket 90 degrees. Maybe I will uncheck the snapping object here so we can be more flexible. Yes, sir. And now we can save it. Go into our player character. Go to the viewport. Add a new static mesh. Make sure it's under the mesh here. I'll name this weapon mesh. Set the static mesh to be X. And I'll set the parent socket. Attach it to the weapon socket that we have. Just like that. Another one. Copy that. I'll name this helmet mesh. Helmet mesh. Attach it to the head socket. Just like that. Now when you click play, now you can see the player is equipped with the helmet and the X. And now we'll make the consuming item, the use item, sorry. So whenever you click the X slot here, it can equip or unequip the X as well as the helmet. I will set both helmet and weapon mesh the visibility to be false for now, so you can see it in game. Now we can go into our event graph. I'll make two new custom event. So add custom event, equip or unequip helmet, and the other one is equip or unequip X. Okay, this will have a one input Toogle. Also this one Toogle. For the helmet here, drag it. I'll set the visibility to the Toogle, just like that. Copy this one. Set the target to be the weapon mesh. Compile. We can go into our inventory slot. On the on mouse button up here, this one, we just created the item used print string here. We're gonna replace that with the inventory slot data. Break it. Item data. I will run a switch check from the item category. Switch on item category. Make sure you have set the item category enumeration correctly in the data table. Like the helmet and the X should be under the equipment category, and the other one is the consumable one. Okay. Go back into the inventory slot. On the consumable here, I will just print the string and I'll append it like consumed item name. Just like that. Alright, after that, on the equipment here, I will get the player character. So you're gonna get the player character. I'll cast this to our third person character. Equipment here. And for the item ID here, I'll also run a switch on string. This is for just a hard-coded type of consuming things, but this video was just to implement the inventory system. So I will more focus towards that. Switch on string here and add two new pins. It's gonna be an X and a helmet. Okay, for the X here, I will run equip or unequip X. Toogle here, it's gonna be the... Okay, so we have to make another data. Go to the blueprint here, item data, add new variable. Maybe it's like is equipment equipped. Okay, gonna save that. Go back to the inventory slot. Here I'll get the inventory slot data, break it, get the item data, break it. Is equipment equipped, not boolean. Set that there. Same one goes for the helmet. I'm gonna make this a bit more tidier. So equip, unequip helmet. Set this to the helmet. For the toggle, same one goes here. Okay, so I will set is equipment equipped here. So on the item data here, I'll set the members and check the is equipment equipped here. Also set this back into the not boolean like that. Compile that. Now when you pick up this X, you click on it, it will equip, and when you click it on it again, it will unequip the X. So the same goes for the helmet. And so now we just have to make the visual. Go back into the inventory slots and I'll make a new text. Plug this into the overlay like that. Make it center, horizontal center, vertical center. Set the justification to center. Set the is variable to be true. I'll name this text underscore equipped. Okay, set the text to be like maybe equipped. Maybe I'll reduce the size a bit to 22 maybe. Alright, not bad. I'll compile that. I'll set this to collapse by default. Go to the event graph, go to the init or update slot. Here on this one, I will get the item from the is equipment equipped from the item data here. I'll set the text equip here, set the visibility of this one. I select. For the index wildcard here, plug this into the is equipment equipped. If it's true, I will set this to visible. I'll set this to not hit testable, and for the false, set this to collapsed. Not hit testable means that the text will not be overlapped with the cursor. So whenever you click it, it will go under the text, not in front of, not the text itself. Okay, so we can compile. Go back into the inventory slot or the mouse button up. After we equip or unequip an equipment, we have to initialize or update the slot. The inventory slot is gonna be the inventory slot data from this one. Okay, I'm going to compile, play, and test it. When you click equip, it should show the equip text there. When you close the inventory and reopen it again and you move the slot anywhere you want, it should be updated. Let's test it with the helmet. When you drop it, we should unequip the equipment if the item was dropped. It will be very simple, and also you can drag this anywhere you want, and the equip text should follow the inventory slots. Okay, so we got an error that it attempts to access index -1. On the check for existing item slot here, we're gonna check for if the index is not equal to -1. And I will run an n boolean check here, slot available, and if it's not equal to -1. Also do the same for the empty slots right here. Plug this into the branch condition there. If the empty slot is available and if the index is not -1. So this way it will not have any more errors. Okay, so guys, I wanna point out that I got this error from the update slot drag and drop function here. To fix that, you're gonna go to the inventory component, go to the function, update slot, drag and drop function here. And on this one, you're gonna have to check if from the find index here, we're gonna run a branch. If the index is not equal to -1, so we're not equal to -1, plug the true into the set members, and on the false here, plug the false into the set members down here. So you will not see any more errors. We're gonna try it. Now there is no more errors and it's clean, guys. So let's head back into the video. When we drop an item, before we drop an item, I will check first. So we're gonna go here in the front on the item data here, break it. Is equipment equipped? I'll handle this first. So I will run a sequence. Put the then 0 into the branch. To make a sequence, hold S and click. And the then one goes into the set members there. Here I will get also the switch on string. Make 2, X and helmet. Actually the most effective way to do it, you can make another function to unequip an equipment. But for the sake of simplicity, I will just use this. This is like a very hard-coded way of doing this, but I'm really sorry, guys. So it's true. I'll get the player character, cast this to be third person character, convert to pure cast. I'll unequip X. And unequip helmet. Just set the toggle to be false. Okay, we can compile. When you equip an item and you drop it, and now the player will unequip the X and the X will be dropped. Yeah, so last thing is I will make, so whenever you consume an item, we will decrease the item number here. Yeah, so we'll make another function on the inventory component. Now let's go back into our inventory component here. I'll make another function. I'll name this remove item. Okay, for the remove item here, I'll make 3 new inputs. First one is the item ID. It's gonna be a string. Next one is the amount to remove, an integer, and the last one is the custom slot index. So this function will be very modular and you can use it everywhere, even if the amount to remove is more than 1. Set this to integer as well. I'll promote this to a local variable. I'll name this remaining to remove. Okay, get a branch. If the custom slot index it's not -1, so I'll set the default value of this integer to be -1, of the custom slot index to be -1. I'll make another local variables. I'll name this updated quantity. This will be an integer. Set this, plug the true into there. This is gonna be the inventory slots. Get a reference to the custom slot index. From here, we're gonna break it. We're gonna break the item data. Get the current quantity. I'll minus this by the remaining to remove. Plug this into the updated quantity. And now we can set the members. Set members. Check the item data and it's empty. And from the item data, we're gonna set the item data from this one. Set members. We're gonna set the current quantity. Okay. Plug this into the item data. For the current quantity here, it's gonna be the updated quantity. And for the is empty here, we're gonna run a select. If the updated quantity is less or equal to 0, if it's true, we're gonna set the is empty to true. Otherwise it will be false. And we also have to make another select here. Again the same one. Plug this into the if it's less or equal to 0. If it's true, we will not set it back into the item data, but if it's false, we're gonna set this into the item data. So that's it for the inventory one. Okay, just like that. Now we can try to compile it. Go to inventory slots. On the consume item here, I'll just copy the cast to third person character. I'll get the inventory component reference. I'll remove item. This call function remove item. The item ID is gonna be the inventory slot data, break it, break the item data, plug the item ID. The amount to remove is gonna be 1, and the custom slot index is gonna be the slot index from this inventory slot data. We compile, click play, pick up an apple. When you consume it, okay, we haven't updated yet, so we're gonna update init or update slot. Inventory slot is gonna be the inventory slot data. Compile. When you pick up an item, consume it. Alright, I'm sorry. I forget to, so on the inventory component here, on the, after we remove an item from the inventory, I will call the onItem removed event dispatcher and set this into the inventory slot. Compile that. And now I can delete this one. Compile, play. When you try to play it, you pick up an item, you consume it, and now the item consumed. And now it disappears. And now this slot will be empty. Yeah. And also let's test the other functionalities. You eat the pineapple, banana, can drop it to the world and take it again, and it should be 3. Drop the pineapple, it should be 1 because we added it to the other slot. So you can also equip the helmet or an X, and you can drop it to unequip the helmet, and you can also unequip it using the click function here. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this series. It's a pretty long video. I hope you guys can follow along with this video, and if you guys have any questions, please leave a comments and I'll be very happy to help you guys. Yeah, I'm really sorry if the video is pretty much boring or it's too long, but because this video is gonna be the only video you need to make a complete inventory system in Unreal Engine 5. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, please give a thumbs up and a subscribe. That would be very appreciated. And also the project link is available in the link description. So, and again, if you have any suggestion, please give a comments down below and I'll be very happy to answer you guys. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.